So I would like to share something with you. I remember when I was in Taiwan, and we have a small Buddhist school, and we have a course. I don't know how to translate that course, but the content of the course is like we study the biography of past practitioners. So then we share what we study with others. And I particularly want my students to focus on two perspectives and how this individual was educated, or the training, the training he or she obtained. And another perspective is what kind of service this individual provide to others. So I think from this perspective, we can get a lot of inspiration from them. How they become a great master is not without a cause, not without education, not without training. And their service to others has something to do with their education. So I would like to talk about a very famous great master of the past 20th century. His name is Shih. And very much, before he went forth, he was the youngest in the family, perhaps the number 8 or number 9 or something. But all of his siblings died. So his mom was so afraid he couldn't, the only son will not survive. So he has that, he knew about his mother's concern. So his mother's protection of him is over. So one time when he was young, he was sitting outside of his house, and his mom looked out and didn't see him, but saw a monk sitting outside. So he was so shocked, and when she came closer, and he realized, oh, this is my son. But that experience. So she has another concern. Not only afraid of the son will not survive, and if this one survive, he might become a monk. Anyway, so she was arranged to get married, very like a late teens or something. And on his wedding day, his good friend also get married the same day or something. But at that time, there was a very infectious, 传染病怎么讲? Contagious disease there. There's no cure. So his best friend's bride, the bride's garment haven't taken off. Her husband died because of the contagious disease. So he went to see his friend, and he was sad. He also died. So he mentioned about he was, when he passed out, he was struggling with whoever and saying, I couldn't go. My mom will not be able to bear this suffering. Can you give me some time? And I promise I will read the Diamond Sutra how many times a day. I will do this good deeds and that good deeds. And he tried to persuade whoever and in charge of him. So it says when he was awakened later. He was in a coffin, and his wife was preparing the funeral. So anyway, so that's his family background. So he raised a family, and he has a Chinese herb shop and helping people, like kind of selling herbs to others, and also perhaps a doctor himself. And he also organized a group. They study Buddhism together. So this, but at the age of 44, his urge of becoming a monk was unbearable. So he says to his family, he wanted to go to pay respect to their ancestor. To a cemetery. That cemetery was located in another province, another city. So it's a long trip. But actually, he never returned. So his family has no idea where he was. Did he die, or I think in the past it's very hard to find him. And anyway, he decided to go to become a monk. But on the way, he thought about his family, thought about his wife, and thought about his kids. And so he said to himself, yeah, your wife will remarry, and your children will become without father. And so he was kind of feel it's very painful to him to think of his family, the situation of his family. But then he changed another angle, thinking if you allowed other women to remarry, why not my wife? If you allow other children to be orphaned, and why not your children? So he was trying to think of both sides. So anyway, he finally became a monk, and at age 44, and I feel he had a new beginning, and he was willing to get all the training as a seminarian. It's like from a young monk's training he has to also went through. He studied under a very great master. His name is Di Xian. So since he's already an adult, so his approach about Buddhism is not only limited to the intellectual understanding. It's more like how the Buddhist teaching, what does it mean to help purify the mind, or discipline the mind, or transform the mind. So he focused on that a lot. And I remember one of his technique or something, because they have constantly have a retreat, and the great master will check every student. And so he reported to his teacher saying, I find my mind was wandering everywhere. It's so hard to keep it in one place. And the harder I try, and the mind was, one way more powerful. It's so difficult. And he later, he said, then I decided not to counter the mind. Instead, just observe the wandering mind. And he realized once you observe the mind, you pay attention to be aware of your own mind, and the wandering mind, die down. It stopped the wandering by itself without you doing any intervention. So that's his. So it's more like he trained himself, not only studied the Buddhism, but watch his mind and observe the mind and help himself, and by observing the mind, he realized that a lot of problem will die down by itself. Okay, so later on, when he finished his study, he went to different places to teach, and so he returned to his home country, and he built many monasteries, big temples, and also each temple he has schools to teach the monks. But he never think this temple is his. So once the construction is finished, he will have the right person become the abbot, assume the leadership. So when I think in 1949 something, if you know the Chinese history, we have we call it the communist, not invasion. The communists control the country. So Venerable Tan Shih moved to Hong Kong. I think that I'm very impressed with his accomplishment is he is very determined to bring Buddhism to a remote places, and even all his effort, a lot of his effort, the temple he managed to build, and the Buddhist school he managed to run was destroyed. He has to leave his own country, and he never feel regret about all those energy, all those resources are wasted. And I kind of feel this is something even this is his last year, he continued to do something and helping to bring Buddhism, to vitalize Buddhism. And nowadays in Canada, in United States, in a lot of overseas Chinese temples are run by his students. So I'm very grateful he has that foresight to not only build temples but have schools and have educate those the younger generation. And who knows? Although his most of his temple was destroyed, was no longer exist, but his students remain and continue carry on this. I mean, spreading the mission of spreading the Dharma, and Venerable Hongren's teacher is one of his students. Yes. Okay. So this is the talk.
Wasn't he the one who sent Venerable Foster and Venerable Nai to Tibet?
That's Venerable Tai Shih. This is Tan Shih. Yeah. Tan Shih, Venerable Tan Shih is from northeast of China. And Venerable Tai Shih is I think in the central China. Yeah, he was the master has the far side of bringing different tradition back to China, Chinese tradition. So he sent his disciple to Sri Lanka, to Burma to learn, to Tibet to learn, to even to Japan to learn. It's, so a lot of translation from Tibet into Chinese was done by his student.
But they're
Different master. But about the same century. One is Tai Xu, is Tan Xu. A little.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, that's right. Thank you.